Hey, this is episode 77 of the Cafe Racer podcast for August 7th, 2015. I'm Steven.
And I'm Crash.
Did you forget who you are?
So, yeah, for just a second. Maybe. It's been an interesting day.
Yeah.
Don't update your operating system on a day you're supposed to use your computer for something.
Oh, really? Like Crash
Yeah.
City?
No, I mean the update went fine. It's just that I really couldn't use the computer before because I had some sort of malware on there, but it's just been more kind of hassle than I really expected. Like not crashing, but all my settings are screwed up. I don't have any programs that I usually have, all that sort of stuff. So
right. You're on a PC, right?
I am. I am now on Windows 10.
Windows 10? What's Windows 10? That's new?
Yeah. It's like a free upgrade from Windows 8.1. So
what happened to 9?
I think they actually have an explanation for that, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, there was a 9, but
that's how out of touch I am because I'm a Mac guy. But right now so if you guys are watching this and not listening to it, you'll notice that we are not in the East Coast and West Coast studios of the Cafe Racer podcast right now.
No, we are not.
We're on remote locations. Crash
both
somewhere,
of us.
Yeah, else, and I'm in Gainesville, lovely, storming Gainesville, Florida right now.
Yes.
Visiting family. So for those of you that are actually watching video, you will see that it's not the normal background for us. And hopefully the audio quality, I think we're both using the same mic, right? Some version of a
the Audio Technica, USB.
Yeah, and these actually sound really good. I'm really surprised. These are nice mics.
Yeah, it kind of honestly makes me wonder why I plunked down as much money as I did on the microphone that I use most of the time.
You're not kidding. I kind of think the same thing.
Like I spent like $35 on this and it sounds just fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some audiophile out there listening though that's like really irritated at our audio quality.
I don't really care. But anyway,
yeah, me neither.
Right. If you're thinking, I recommend this. People like, what mic should I buy? Should I go out and buy a ILPR 40 or like the one that I have and all this other stuff? I'm like, I got mine on Amazon for like the same thing, like $35, and it's USB and XLR. You can plug headphones into it. It sounds phenomenal. So go buy one of these. Yours is an ATR. I think mine's an AT 2005. They're the same mic. They're just different color. But
yeah. And I've got mine's on a little mini stand that it's sort of funny. I might as well explain how the sausage is made.
Well,
I bought this,
sausage.
No, how we make the podcast. All the inside baseball.
You're not supposed to tell people that we're making sausage too.
Oh, charcuterie.
Right.
We're doing
charcuterie.
It's a shout out to the Cleveland Moto podcast.
Right. They say that every podcast. They say charcuterie at least once.
I know. It's like it's like written in their bylaws.
Right.
But I bought this little microphone stand thinking, looking online, found a small microphone stand. And when I say small, I didn't realize it was like physically like a half size microphone stand, like a boom, that sits on the floor with a little folding bit. I thought it was close to regular size.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing really only works if you wanted to like mic a guitar while you're sitting. Or in my case, I like set the base of it on something tall so that it makes it up to my face.
Yeah. So the thing that I brought with me, these microphones come with that little 3-legged spider-looking stand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't find that, so I brought this thing, which is completely useless. I could probably wear it as some sort of jewelry or something, but it's just for the mic, it's useless. So I got to handhold it. But yeah, it's okay. This is working perfectly fine.
Life goes on.
Yeah. So listen, I got a new toy I wanted to tell you about.
You did.
Yeah, and it's not the 2-wheel type.
Oh.
That's coming soon, hopefully. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I got a new gun.
Ooh.
I got a
sorry, I got really excited all of a sudden.
I've been looking, I kind of and for those of you who don't know, Crash and I are both kind of like gun nuts a little bit. We both like our guns.
I'm a little out of touch, but yeah.
Yeah, typically so am I, because you find something you really like and you end up keeping it. And we've had a concealed weapons law in Florida since '87, and I've always had one since it came out. But I've, carried 1911s, but lately I've been kind of a CZ nut. I shoot USPSA and IDPA with a CZ, and I like CZs a lot. And I was looking for a carry gun, and I happened across an article that was in Guns and Ammo about the new rage with Glock are these two little single stacks, like the 42 and the 43. And in this article, they compared like 9 or 10 guns, and one of them was a Taurus 709 Slim. And typically, Taurus is kind of a budget gun. I never really thought about them. I have a couple friends that have them that I don't really care for them, but they really spoke highly of this thing in the article. So I went and looked at one at Gander Mountain and was really impressed. And ergonomically, it felt really good. It's single action only, but it's internal, which is kind of hard to explain. So there's an external safety on the gun as well. There's no external hammer like a
Yeah, I was going to say
1911.
there's no external hammer. Yeah.
No, what happens is when you load the gun and cock it the first time, all internally, it puts the trigger in a single action mode. And because of this, it's got a double strike capability. So if you pull the trigger the first time, nothing happens. You actually go into a double action mode to pull the trigger the second time, and you can get a second strike. But typically, when you load it, cock it, put it around in the chamber, it's in single action. So it's got very, very light trigger pull, and there's an external safety. I ended up picking one up on Gunbroker for like $200 delivered, which is super cheap. And I took it to the range today for the first time, and man, was I impressed by this thing for an inexpensive pocket gun. And have you ever heard of sticky holsters? Have you ever seen those?
That sounds. It's the holster that's kind of like basically like Velcroed into your, like just kind of holds in by itself, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a pancake holster, but the outside material is kind of like a sticky vinyl, sort of, that when you put it in your pocket or in your pants, it'll actually stay there when you pull the gun out. Now it's going to collapse because it's a pancake holster, but for $25, it's great for a pocket holster. And I can actually carry this thing in an appendix carry without a problem. Sitting down, driving a car, no problem at all. So that was a cool little gun, and I think it's going to be the new carry gun for a while.
Cool. I am
really off topic about
whatever.
motorcycles, but
whatever. I've been without any firearms for about a year and a half, 2 years now. I just don't have any. I'm always kind of on the lookout, though. I've come really close to buying new ones.
I thought you had an AR still. No?
Mm-mm. Nope, nothing.
Well, crap, man. You want me to send you something to have for a while?
No.
I'll go dig through the safe and find something of interest.
Find something like you never shoot ever, and just so I can
more than likely
retain some kind of
some flavor of a Glock, since I can't hit the broadside of a barn with a Glock. But are they talking at all, in light of the things that have been going on in the news? Are they talking about allowing carry on base now or not?
I think I saw something. I'm terrible about following the news, but I think I saw something about that on like a Navy Times article or something like that on one of the not entirely. I mean, not that Navy Times isn't reputable, but Navy Times is kind of like the National Enquirer. Like, there's a lot of added stuff to, like, there's just a lot of like uncertain. Their stories are all rumor and stuff like that.
So there's other stories about like aliens and UFOs and stuff like that, or not?
Oh, no, but they're about as reliable. I mean,
that's classic.
Like, good. They're like, new uniform regulations set to come out in 2016. Everyone will get to wear cardigans, and you're like, what? Like it's just some like crazy thing that's like some rumor that's never going to happen. I mean, sometimes it's true. Like some of their stuff is actually true, but a lot of it's just rumors about what's going to be changing or whatever.
That's pretty funny.
Navy set to kick out 100,000 sailors next month. They're like, what?
You're like, thank God.
There's like 300,000 of us.
1/3 of the fleet is going away.
Yeah.
So besides that, I've been starting to lust over a new motorcycle.
Oh, which one?
Well, since I can't have an EBR right now, which
true,
and I've been like constantly searching for any news about EBR being purchased by somebody or something. I haven't heard anything yet. I'm sure this process will
And
probably take.
any good news?
Yeah, no good news. But I've been following the whole Africa twin thing a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you seen pictures of it?
I've seen pictures. I'm actually pulling up
There's
stuff now because
there's a couple of
I want to
teaser
look at it.
videos on YouTube, and this thing just sounds so cool. And it it almost looks like these guys are riding a dirt bike, and it's a 1000. So a couple of articles I read to point to some patents that were filed on the fuel tank airbox like interface,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very dirt bike-ish. And it's got a 21-inch front wheel so far. What I'm hoping for is that we're going to see this thing debuted at AIM.
That'd be really cool.
It would be cool. And and I'm thinking Honda signed on to AIM. What better way for their out of the gate presentation than debut the Africa Twin?
Yeah.
And it might go, and we've kind of had this conversation like throwing around a little bit on an email thing, and James Razor made a comment about, I'm going to go a day early hoping they do something like Kawasaki did. You kind of heard what happened to him last year when he went early. When they were rolling in the H2, guy cranked it up and was doing some burnouts, I guess, either in the outside area of the convention center or coming right into the convention floor, which was kind of neat. So I'm hoping maybe we get a glance at it, or it'll be there. That would be really cool. We know it's not vaporware. We know it's not something that they're just talking about bringing out, because there's some pretty good photographs of it and some specs that have been posted. So it's slated as a 2016 model. What better time than October, at AIM?
Right.
And everybody else has kind of been using that as a platform for debuts. So let's see what happens. I'm really kind of excited about it.
From the pictures, I kind of have this weird feeling that it almost looks too good. Like what do you think? The old Africa Twin was just so ugly. Like so ugly that it was kind of good looking as a result. You know what I mean? Like it was. And the new Africa Twin, the pictures, it looks good. Like I like the way it looks, as opposed to being like, wow, that is weird and gangly and outrageous looking. But I do like it. I like the fact that it doesn't appear to have, it doesn't have a beak, because that's really quite pointless. So yeah.
The only thing is, and I don't know if this is, I can't really tell about the fuel tank size. I haven't really seen anything about that. So after having a bike with an 8-gallon or 8-gallon plus fuel tank, I really like that for the range.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at these pictures, it's hard to really tell. And yeah, that the older, the 750 Africa Twin was ugly for now, but back then I thought it was cool looking. Like, were you ever a fan of the Transalps at all in the way they look?
Yeah, I think they looked all right. Yeah.
Right. So this thing, the one thing that kind of, because it does look like it's kind of dirt bike-ish and looks kind of slim, that's always kind of, I don't know how to put this, made me not feel like I was on a big enough bike to go touring. Does that make sense? Like, that's kind of how I feel on the Tiger. Like it's like it, like I feel like it's too small for me. People are like, "What do you mean too small for you? That bike's big," Maybe I like that behemoth kind of feeling of the Stelvio and of a GS Adventure, where there's like a lot of tank in front of you. You kind of feel like you're sitting behind something substantial. I kind of got to get over that because it's BS.
I mean, yeah, but I understand. I mean, it's kind of like that feel of like driving a big luxury car,
right,
as opposed to driving something smaller and lighter that just feels more flimsy, even if it's not at all. Even if it's super rigid or whatever. Like it just feels. It doesn't have that same feeling of like it's large, graceful,
like it's substantial.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like sure a nice big Bentley.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get over that when I kind of see it, and then I'm kind of slowly getting over the whole thing about chain drive versus shaft drive. From a performance aspect, the best way to get power to the real for performance is a chain. So I don't know. I keep looking. The more and more I read about the KTM, the big bike, the super adventure, I guess. The more I like it. From a technology standpoint and from how big it is, but this Africa Twins really kind of got me excited about it. We'll see.
Looks pretty cool. I the last couple of times we've done episodes, I've kind of complained that I haven't been riding enough, and I know that since the last episode I went on a motorcycle ride, but I cannot for the life of me remember where. And I think it actually just occurred to me where I went. Yeah, I did. I just figured out where the heck I went. I've been thinking about this since you and I started talking about doing the episode today. I've been thinking to myself, okay, I know I went on a ride, but where the hell did I go? And it turns out I didn't actually go anywhere of any importance. I went out and just rode some fun roads that are not too far from my house, but it was actually a ride for fun with no responsibilities and nothing, just a nice, easy, pleasant ride.
I plan on doing that Sunday. If it's not pouring down rain, I plan on doing that Sunday. I was going to take the bike up here to Gainesville, but the last time I rode 2 hours and got home and I was soaking wet with sweat. That's how hot it's been here.
Ooh.
It's been in the high 90s with 100% humidity, and even moving, it was kind of uncomfortable. That, it's like I've said before, Florida's riding season is really the winter time, because like today it's been nothing but monsoons off and on all day, and then it'll rain, and then all of a sudden the sun comes out, and so you literally see like steam coming off the asphalt.
Yep.
And then 25 minutes later it's thundering and raining again. Not that, that says I'm going to park a bike, but it's just been so hot. But Sunday, come rain, shine, hot weather, I'm so jonesing for a ride. I'm going to go for a ride Sunday. And I'm going to probably ride up around Lake Okeechobee and just do some back roads and maybe even some off-road stuff.
Nice.
I don't know if I told you this or not, but there's I did tell you this, but it's been a while, but there's a company out there that makes maps that I kind of talked to them about doing some stuff here in Florida. So I promised them I would go out and do some road recording for them. So
cool.
Soon that's going to happen. And I'm going to get a group of guys from the ADV form together, and we're going to go out and ride some of the back roads back in the Everglades area.
I rode some of their recommended roads.
What'd you think?
When I went. Oh, I've ridden their recommended. They designed a route for me for an entire trip 2 summers ago. So I spent 4,500 miles on roads that they recommended, and really could not rave about them more. It was a blast. The only time I actually go ahead.
I was going to say they released the North Carolina stuff, and they don't have anything for Florida. So I was kind of hoping. The thing is that Florida really doesn't have great roads, but there are some hidden gems, and the people who live down here know them. Like Snake Road's kind of cool, and there's some places in Central Florida that have some really nice big sweepers, and they're out in the cow country area. So that's what we kind of talked about. It's just really giving the person the option who can't really travel out of Florida on a regular basis, something other than straight roads. So that's what we're going to try to do.
That sounds like a great idea.
And it's also good for the club guys, even if you're riding a cafe bike or you're riding a vintage bike and you want to stay out of traffic, to have that other option of stuff that might be within, a half hour where you live, but you didn't know how to get there or you didn't know it existed. That's kind of the cool thing about companies like that as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the Southern California one is like the map they have for Southern California is just riddled with roads that are like marked as, here's a good road, here's a good, and I had no idea. I've only lived here for a year and change, but still, it's like I've driven right past some of these roads and just been like, wait, I didn't know that road went that way and is supposed to be really fun.
Yeah. Uh, hey, there's something else I just thought about too. That's a possibility that may be coming up real soon. Is I may be in San Diego in September.
Oh, nice. Let me know.
Well, I'm gonna if I do go there, it's kind of a work related thing, but
Yeah.
I'll take like a day or two, and then maybe rent a bike or borrow a bike and go for a ride. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I go out
Um,
there. There's a kind of a work related thing, and they're talking about taking me out there to do some development on some products that they manufacture. So
cool. If nothing more, we'll have to like get food, like lunch or dinner or something.
hey, let me I just got an email and we might have a guest. I'm gonna send a link real quick.
Yeah, sure. Well, you do
See if
that.
we can make
I'll
see
tell
if we can
this
make
my
this
silly
thing
little
happen.
story that I alluded to when I was talking to you earlier about breaking my motorcycle's mirror.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I've got a lot of people that have Barend mirrors are familiar with the CRG hindsight mirrors. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they're like pretty expensive little round bar end mirrors. They look really nice. I have like the Cycle Gear knockoff version, and they fold in just like the lane split, the CRG lane split mirrors, or I should say they're supposed to fold in. Um, and I was trying to squeeze past the bike the other day, and I was like, "Oh, this would be a lot easier if I just folded the mirror in." And when I went to fold it, the little bearing in there that allows it's supposed to like spring in, and a little ball bearing supposed to spring in and allow the mirror to fold, did not, and the mirror just snapped off in my hand. Um, so that for $50, like it was $50 for the pair of mirrors, so it wasn't like I'm out a fortune. It was a little frustrating. And then the other day, I was getting ready to go to work, and I'm just trying to get past the bike between my truck and my bike, and the little nub of broken metal caught on the leg of my pants and ripped a hole in them.
Nice.
So I'm like, no, damn it. I'm on the way to work. I'm already running late. Guess I'm going to work with a hole in my pants. Fortunately, it wasn't a hole in any sort of like special area, just right on the like my thigh.
You're
No
a
big deal.
disgrace to the uniform.
I know. Well, it
So
wasn't even my work pants.
are you sure you didn't install these things wrong and that's why you broke it, or is this what's the
No, I've
situation?
folded them before. They just haven't been folded in a long time, and there wasn't any kind of like lubrication or corrosion prevention being done on them. They've just stayed in the out position for so long that they kind of seized up. Oh
Seized
well.
up? Like that? Do they require some sort of lube or something or not?
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I should be like, or like I should at least when I get them, like spray some like white lithium grease in there or something, just to make sure that things stay happy.
Are these kind of like halcyon mirrors, sort of, where they've got is there a post that comes off of it with an arm that folds in or not? Or are they just directly how do they mount?
A little clamp around the handlebar, and then from the clamp is like a little ball joint that allows you to pivot the mirror in the direction you want it.
Right.
And in that arm, in that supports the mirror, is a hinge, so they fold in.
But they're on the bar end, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's have you ever seen the halcyon mirrors? They're not cheap, but it's what you
I
see
think
like
so.
on
Yeah.
the older Nortons and Triumphs and things like that. They're kind of cool because
Yeah.
I mean, they're the same thing. They're designed to fold in, but they work really nice. So these things maybe are I don't want to
Oh,
say,
these are a Chinese like Cycle Gear knockoff of CRG lane splitter mirrors, which the CRG mirrors are super high quality too. In fact, if I can get screen share to work, I'll show you the mirrors I'm talking about.
okay, and I'm going to look for the halcyons as well so you can kind of see
Yeah. So,
what they look like.
can you see this? Can you see this mirror now?
Yeah. All right. Now I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So these are the CRG lane splitter. This is the real thing. This little hinge here on mine is not very high quality. So it got all stuck, and when I went to fold it, it just broke.
All right. So I'm going to show you these because
All right.
I know what you're
I
talking
will
about.
unshare as soon as
And
I can stop. There we go.
let me show
And
you
now my video. Oh,
these.
there we go.
Yeah, I know you got to have like pretty good bandwidth for this thing to work. I know you guys hate when we do this because you don't see it on podcast, but I'll show you. There's a company called Classic
Our
Cars
apology.
Limited. Yeah. Yeah, on a cafe bike, these things I think are kind of some of the coolest looking mirrors.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure I've heard the name Halcyon, and I know they also make goggles.
yeah, they do. And let me try and see if the screen share works here now. Let me find this thing. It's in the toolbox, right?
I think I'm looking at them right now, actually.
Okay, here we go. I got it. It's coming
These
up.
are the ones, don't they like screw into the end of the bar?
Yeah. So it replaces your
Yeah.
bar end completely. If you can see there, this piece goes into the bar end. But see that it actually pivots here. So
Yeah.
these things fold all the way over. They're really kind of neat, you know?
Those are really pretty. I really like those. I'm not sure if they would actually fit inside my handlebars. A lot of that's the problem with a lot of Barend mirrors like this, which I really like them. But I've got Woodcraft clip-ons and they're aluminum, and so the inside diameter is a lot smaller than the inside diameter of a regular handlebar. Sucks.
Trying to get our guest, hopefully, to come up on here. He's asked me if he's using an app from his phone, so let's see if it works. And I'll tell you who it is. I'm going to kind of throw the guy. Yeah, it's Spencer Hill from the Gear Dude. So,
oh, cool.
Hopefully, we'll have Spence on here in a minute with us, talk about what he's got going on and some new stuff. It was just got last minute. I kind of saw him up on the internet and said, "Hey, it was funny because he was down here visiting. I'm actually friends with his stepmom and her husband. So he was in town and we just couldn't make it get a chance to get together because they were down in Fort Lauderdale and we're up in Palm Beach. And
yeah,
I like his reviews on his gear. Spencer does. If you don't know who he is, he's kind of a motorcycle enthusiast. He's got a Facebook page, but he also is into camping and stuff like that and does some really cool reviews on gear. Some neat stuff. But I'll post in the show notes links to his site, and hopefully he'll be up with us in a minute here. Neat. But anyway, getting back to riding, I still haven't. I've gotten some really good emails from some listeners on help with the Le Mans as far as the starter problem. I just haven't had a chance to get back to it to check it out. But for all you guys that send emails, I am going to do what you suggested as far as bypassing the ground to see if that's the issue. So that's hopefully maybe I can get that done this week. It was kind of as I was working on it. There's a plastic cover that goes over the starter on the Le Mans, and then the reservoir for the rear shock kind of bolts in place over that. And I noticed when I took it off that the cover was cracked. So I ended up putting a search up on eBay and found a cover off of one that looked like that, a regular Le Mans that they were salvaging. So I got that, and hopefully when I get it all back together, I'm going to put that in. It looks like it's the same color as how the bike was painted.
Oh, good.
And then, I still have the CB750 sitting in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a gas tank I need to get rid of.
The one for the Triumph you bought?
Yeah, I decided to just leave the dent and say screw it, instead of repainting the tank that I've like the new tank. It's just taking up space.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the dent for now. I don't want to deal with having a purple and silver tank for like even a day.
Yeah. My sons are texting me right now, really breaking my chops about the Cafe Racer podcast. So they
nice.
They find it kind of hilarious, and apparently I'm the old fire station I used to work at. Now they're imitating me pretty well, all the young guys, and have me pretty down pat. So
nice.
It's kind of funny. My youngest son,
really
both of my sons are firefighters, and they're giving me a really hard time about this. The little bastards, basically. So I should never told either one of my sons that this show existed, because now
yeah. I can only imagine that the fire service is like the Navy in the way that we treat our
Oh yeah, you
fellow.
better not
You
have
know,
thin skin, or you're not going to make it. It's
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
yeah,
We like to pretend that we're a professional organization, but it's really just pretending.
yeah. And I think it's kind of normal in those jobs, but it's funny when I find out that the more you get in like any community that we're in, whether it's the motorcycle community or the competitive gun world or whatever you're doing, there it's if it's a guy related type of thing, the stone breaking is pretty prevalent for the most part.
Oh yeah, but then like the higher up you get, a lot of that seems to diminish unless you're among like your strict peers. It seems like the lower you are, the broader the audience.
Well, I remember telling a guy when I was a chief, a guy that made lieutenant. I said, the higher rank you go, the bigger the target on your back becomes. So that
True.
kind of grab ass stuff kind of has to go away when
Yeah.
yeah. There's a time and a place for everything, but that changes after a while. Now, in when it's not something that's work related, like when it's a fun type of thing, like whether it's the motorcycle community or it's like it doesn't matter what your tenure
Hmm.
is there. It doesn't matter how popular you are. It just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
No, I don't think do you have any way to get him to come in through the phone on the app. He's
Um,
I
I
thought we were
swear
able to
I've
do it.
joined. Yeah, I swear we've done it. Did you just send him a link from like the address bar that's up at the top of the Hangout?
Let me try that and see if that works. Because I really like
So,
to get him on here, but it's usually
I don't usually make excuses for not riding, but I do have one reason I've kind of been like hesitant. Like instead of just immediately jump on the bike, like, as soon as I get the chance. And we were talking about chain and shaft drive. My Triumph obviously is chain driven, and I could not tell you the last time I lubricated the chain. I haven't ridden it a ton since I did, but still, like I just really would like to
are all
check.
the links like kind of stuck together in L shapes, or
No, no, it
is it
looks
a
fine.
is it a O-ring chain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think O-ring chains e- require less maintenance than a regular chain.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I have this like constant nagging in the back of my mind that's like, hey, lubricate it. And so
Well, what's your
I just,
lube of
you know,
choice?
currently, I mean, this is like going into any forum and saying, hey, what kind of engine oil should I use?
Mhm.
Um, like, or going into like a gun forum, like, what's the best brand of pistol to everyday carry? You're going to get 1,000 different answers and suddenly it's going to become violent. But, I use, um, right now the DuPont chain saver. They used to have that DuPont lube.
Hold on,
Yeah.
man.
Hey,
There he
Spencer.
is.
Hey, how's it going?
Spencer, what's up?
Not a whole lot. Sorry, I wasn't expecting the phone call to start that quickly.
See, we don't plan anything here, man. We just like
Yeah,
we
we're
just
pretty
fly by.
impromptu.
Yeah, we fly by the seat of our pants. And I saw you on Facebook, and I'm like, you've been trying to get him on the show, so let's try this. And it
Oh,
worked.
nice. Yeah.
So we kind of gave a short intro to the audience of the Gear Dude and what you do. And why don't you tell us kind of in depth how you got started off with this and actually what kind of products you review and a little bit of background.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been riding motorcycles for probably 6 or 8 years, and in this last year here, I got real serious about touring and adventure riding and stuff, and I don't know. I was just a real gear junkie, and I came from like a backpacking culture, and so yeah, I was just really into gear and toys and stuff like that. So somebody said, well, you should start a blog or a site to kind of uh, help other people decide what gear to use, and so that's kind of just what I did. And then I hooked up with ADV Moto magazine and advpulse.com, and it just kind of took off from there.
Did you happen to make it out to Overland Expo this year?
Yeah, I was there at the Snowverland Expo of 2015.
That's what I heard. I heard it was pretty, like when Crash and I were there last year, it was cold, but it didn't snow. You guys got actual snow, right?
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. I've got pictures of my bike with like 2 inches of snow sitting on the seat, and my tent.
I kind of wish I went now.
I woke up Saturday morning and there was like 3 inches of snow on top of my tent. It was ridiculous.
Did you put the tent up in the motorcycle ghetto where everybody else was?
Yeah, I did, and that was kind of a mistake looking back, because they were like Rawhide Adventures ran the motorcycle portion of it, and there were no showers in that area, and it was just kind of in the middle of the field, whereas all the other camping, well, you were there last year, so you probably knew that all the other camping, they had like showers and better porta potties and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
yeah,
what
it's
happened?
definitely the moto.
Yeah, and this is the funny thing about it is last year I got there before Crash did, and he was riding in with Christy Farrell from Motorific podcast. And when I got there and signed up, they're like, "Hey, we've got this area over here that's like the media area which was right by where the showers were."
Yeah.
And Crash pulls up. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, let's go out there and we'll camp with all the other motorcycle people." Because I kind of rode in with some guys I hooked up with that were on NC 700, so we ended up in the ghetto too. And the thing that was bad about it was, that's like a horse and cow pasture out there. So the ground, you saw how uneven and crappy the ground is. And like the first night, I ended up having to go buy a different sleeping pad because it was really, really uncomfortable. But yeah, there's literally 3 shower stalls for that entire 7,000 people that are there for that.
Yeah, and it was, and the whole area flooded too when I was there. It turned into a river in that area, which was not ideal.
Okay, so the other thing is I've noticed you've kind of recently changed bikes, right?
Well, yeah, I did. In February, I bought the KTM 690. And that was kind of a culmination of just getting a lot more serious with the sort of riding that I was getting into.
What were you on before that?
I was on a BMW F650 GS.
You had a Triumph before that, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I had a Bonneville, 08
Bonneville, right.
Last year that they were carbed.
Yep, I have an 09.
You're like one year over.
Right. It was funny too because when we got there, we thought that was going to be the only Bonnie there, and there was a couple more.
Yeah.
So did you happen to see any when you were at Overland besides?
I saw a couple. There was, I can't remember her name now. The lady, the very nice lady, I met her, that's breaking the Guinness World Record right now, riding around on a Bonneville. And I forget what the record is, going to as many places in a short period of time or something like that.
What's her name? Crash, you interviewed her.
Is it Danelle Lynn?
Yeah. I think that's it.
Okay,
Danelle,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she is really nice.
Yeah.
And then I got friends out here in Seattle. All my friends from Triumph of Seattle, those guys are insane what they do with their Bonnevilles. Friend of mine, his theory is, they didn't used to have dual sports. All bikes were dual sports. So he rides his Bonneville like anybody else rides a GS, and he is just nuts with it.
That's kind of cool. And he's kind of right, really, prior to this whole, adventure bike phenomenon, that's what there was basically scramblers, the guys that were putting high pipes on these things and gators on the forks and knobby tires, and that was it.
Yeah.
So while we've got the gear dude on, it actually reminded me that I rode to work a couple weeks ago, and I had this 8-year-old pair of Dainese boots that I got to work. Everything was fine. I went to put on the boots when I went to go home, and the sole on one of them had completely separated from the rest of the boot.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, well, I guess I need new boots now.
Yeah.
8 years has been a good run. And so I went poking around, and we've got a Dainese store not too far from me. It's about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for ridiculously expensive gear. So I ended up getting these. The Dainese Street biker DWP. So these are the waterproof street biker shoe. They come in a couple different colors, but I got like it's called Tarmac.
Such a hipster. That is just.
Yeah.
They look pretty cool. Are they actually waterproof?
Supposedly, I've never tested it, but I live in San Diego. I haven't had a lot of opportunity.
Put them on and go put your feet in the bathtub and let's see what they do. Come on.
I could. And
we
honestly,
got
we got
the gear dude with us right now. Let's do a test.
They've got, like, looking at them all the way up to about, where my finger's at. For those of you who are listening to the show instead of watching it, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. But like the top two eyelets of the lacing don't have any kind of liner behind them, but everything else does. And so, I mean, I've dealt with Dynasty's waterproof stuff before. I'm sure they're fine in the rain. The funny thing is, if you look at the soles, they're white soles, but there's like a gray, there's some gray stuff along the bottom. Like they came pre-dirtied.
Pre-scuffed, so you wouldn't have to look like a noob.
The bottom, it was all me.
Serious? Those look like they're used.
I know, and I didn't see another pair to compare it. But when I got these, I got these and I tried them on, and I was like looking at them, looking at the soles, going, those soles were white, and they are not now. That's
weird.
That is weird.
And they weren't like returns either. They were, they were brand new. I don't care. The soles are going to end up looking like this because I'm not going to clean them. So, yeah.
Spence, favorite piece of motorcycle gear for traveling?
That's hard. I don't know. My new Badlands jacket is probably my new favorite thing ever. So.
I tried one of those on when I was at Overland last year, and I got to give a shout out to Climb for really doing the right thing by having a dealer there. I mean, I've been on this rant before, but they had the rep from the factory there, and they had a dealer that they supported, so I could try everything on that they had. Whereas another brand, Revit, had like two pieces of gear that were street oriented in this like tent you could look at, and that was it.
I'm on this radio show right now, so I'm not gonna be able to make it. Okay. Sorry about that. That's all right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No problem. Are we keeping you from something, or are you having more fun?
No, this was kind of impromptu, so I was just gonna head out to the store, but I'm not gonna head out to the store now because I'm talking with you guys.
All right, cool. Anyway, so back to the Badlands. I loved it a lot, but I just thought that it might be too heavy for Florida.
Yeah, that's the thing about Florida is you guys have the problem of the torrential downpours, because I lived in Florida for 2 years. Torrential downpours, and it's hot, and so I don't envy you guys with the kind of gear that has to suit those kind of climates.
I'm kind of looking at right now I'm in some Olympia gear, and it's just not really holding up real well. I'm a little disappointed. Like buttons are coming apart and the zippers aren't great. There's some design issues with it, and I've been in Aerostitch for a long time. Like I had a Darien for years.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at Scorpion's new line that came out. There's like one of their mid-level adventure type jackets has got a lot of venting that's already in place, and on the Olympia gear there's actually panels that zip down off the front and then tuck in, right?
Right.
On the Scorpion the panels are on the inside, so you always have the mesh on the outside, and it looks like it might be a little bit better solution. So I'm thinking about possibly trying that stuff. The Olympia stuff's just kind of getting to where it's pretty much wore it out, I guess.
Yeah. I've heard
Steve,
good things about the new Scorpion stuff.
I'm hoping to see it are you going to try to make it out for the AIM Expo in October in Orlando?
I don't know. I might. The weather is much more appealing down there than it is up here that time of year. So.
Right.
Yeah. I can really understand where Steve's coming from with a difficult weather situation. Like around December timeframe, San Diego gets a little too chilly to wear my perforated jacket, so I can totally feel your pain.
I mean, in the summertime, perforated is the way to go. But the thing is, I know you're making a joke. And the thing is that when it rains, forget it. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is all summer long. It's either burning hot, like I said, or pouring down rain. So you kind of have to have something to do the best of both worlds. The cool thing about the Darien was the way it was cut. And this is one of the things I don't like about the one of the Scorpions is they have that what they call, and I think it's on the Badlands too, what they call the monkey paw. So it's a gauntlet you put your hand through on the jacket.
Oh yeah, they just did away with that on the Badlands for the new one.
Oh really? Because
Yeah.
that was one of the things I didn't like about it. There's no venting then going up your sleeve, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that the Scorpion has. Whereas in the Darien, because it's got those big the big pit zips, and then they've got this big zip across the back. That thing was like wearing air conditioning when you were moving. You know, if you
Yeah,
had the
oh sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I have the Road Crafter one piece that I've had forever, and that's the same thing. That thing vents really well, but that's the thing. As soon as you stop moving, it's really bad. You have your own climate inside the suit, but
It's a sauna, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
but
So-
their pit zips are good.
Crash, favorite piece of gear for traveling?
For traveling. So the only suit I've ever done any traveling in, or only like, you know, is my Revit Legacy GTX, and that thing, I mean, it's been through a lot of stuff, but it's not really. It was great when I lived up in Washington. I lived up in Oak Harbor on Whidbey Island.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it was great up there because, you know, when it rained a lot. But driving through some of the drier places, it didn't vent really noticeably, you know, really well at all. Trying to think of what like my favorite piece of gear would be. Probably.
No, I'm not. It doesn't necessarily have to be something you wear. Anything, camp gear.
Yeah, that's what I was
gear,
thinking
anything.
about.
Yeah.
You know, as I'm totally like a gadget nut, and as ridiculously overpriced and stupid as it is, I have a Garmin Zumo 660, and it's so nice to be able to program in a route, you know, and get exactly the roads I want instead of some of the things I've tried on my phone, which just didn't really work very well. Plus, the battery life is not an issue because it's hardwired to the bike.
Does Garmin still use that same tiny, real thin gauge wire to hardwire, or is it different now?
Yes. No, it's microscopic.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a 22 gauge wire or something.
I just don't get that because it breaks all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So my favorite piece of gear, I've been wanting to talk about this stuff for a long time. When we were at the Overland Expo last year, I bought a McNett tactical towel. Have you seen these things at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one of those.
You bought one too. And
I think, yeah.
since the ones that you and I got were mediums, and since that time I've also purchased the large and the extra large. And I got to tell you, this is probably one of my most favorite products all around that's morphed its way outside the motorcycle into just regular travel life for me. So I take that thing, you know, to the gym. I take them everywhere. The extra large is actually big enough to use as like a small shelter, like either to kneel on when you're working on the bike or to set it up. They've got sewn-in holes all the way around this thing so you can set it up with bungees for shade. But to me, like for the motorcycle, the medium's great. I can, and I'm 6 foot, 250 pounds. That medium's fine to dry myself off and dry my hair. The large is even better, but this is one of the best products I've seen in a long time, and they're inexpensive. And McNett, and I'm going to do like a little YouTube review of it, but McNett sells them with this little zippered travel bag that you can roll the towel up in when it's dry, put it in there, and then put some toiletries in there. The other thing that they make, which I ordered too, was little washcloths, these terry cloth washcloths. They sell a 3-pack for like $7 or $8. But that's really become my favorite piece of gear. Have you tried this thing, Spencer, at all?
No, I haven't. I use a similar thing, the pack towel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually, it's funny because I think I saw that at the Overland Expo this year, but I wanted to check them out because the pack towel is really good, but it seemed like those might have a little bit more functionality to them, you know?
Yeah, and I like the idea. You know, when we got these things, the kind of packaging on there showed, you know, some military guys using them as shade where they were strung up like on the outside of a vehicle and they were like hanging out underneath them.
Mhm.
The only thing they also make a terry version of that same towel, but any review I've read said it doesn't really hold water as well.
Yeah.
But it's funny because this thing will like absorb a ton of water. I actually bought one for my wife, and my wife's got long hair. She's got really thick hair, and we were camping a couple weekends ago in the Keys, and she took that as like her towel for the shower house or anything. I'm like, how did it work? She's like, great. And it didn't even get to the point where I had to wring it out. So you
Yeah.
hang it up, it dries really quick. They're we kind of learned a lesson with beach towels and home towels in we were hunting a year ago, and it was really kind of a wet environment, and it was cold, and the towels never really dried at all. And then hanging them up inside the tent with the heater going, that just increased the amount of humidity in the tent.
Mhm.
So this is probably one of the best products for a little bit of money. And I'm like you guys, I'm a gadget guy all around, but for as an inexpensive product and something that is really functional, that medium one just kind of really lives in the motorcycle bag. So I have it with me all the time, and then like I said, I carry the large and the extra large a lot. But I'll do a little YouTube video, Crash, kind of showing these things in the size and how they
Yeah.
are. And
I've used the medium one, on my whole body as a towel, and it's this little tiny thing, and I'm like, how in the heck is this whole thing going to dry me off?
yeah,
And I only used it because I didn't have another towel. I realized like I'd gotten in the shower and left my towel halfway across the campground. I was like, well, I got this little thing. I'll try it.
The standard
Works
disclaimer
fine.
is we didn't get these from McNett. We don't have a relationship with them. We never contact them. We bought these when we were out at the Overland Expo, and then I bought some more. And the funny thing is, McNett is a company I've been familiar with since I was really young because they manufacture a product called AquaSeal, which is an adhesive that's used for wetsuits. So I mean, I bought AquaSeal back in the early 80s when I was diving a lot. So the company's been around for a long time. They have a lot of other cool products, but these tactical towels are great. They make a non-tactical version, which is in normal colors. And I'm wondering too, Spencer, if that pack towel's their non-tactical version, or is it a different company that makes that?
Uh, I don't know. I know they're branded by, and I was trying to remember the parent company, but they are like their own subsidy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's one of those pieces of gear, like a small pack towel or something like that. Like, how do you tour without something like that? And for how little room it takes up, I mean, they're pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like that. It's a really good point especially when you talk about motorcycle camping. What are you typically doing if you're not
Yeah,
taking?
what's the
Yeah,
alternative? You know?
it's certainly not a traditional terry or bath or beach towel, right?
Yeah.
So you end up, I don't know, taking drying off with a t-shirt or something else, or I know guys that would use the chamois, like the truck chamois type things that they sell, and they're not great. They've got to stay wet all the time, or they dry out and get hard. They make one called the Fireman's Friend that's rolled up in a tube. I keep one in my truck for drying the truck off, but that's not really kind of I don't know. I don't think it's an acceptable solution. It's the same thing with the towels that they used to use for like swimmers. They always kind of have to be moist, otherwise they dry out and they get hard and they don't work as well. But these things, man, they dry out. They're microfiber cloth and they're phenomenal. Really, really nice. All right. So what are you testing currently right now? What's going on with the gear, dude? And what are you testing?
I got a lot of stuff right now, actually. I'm testing, well, the new Climb Badlands jacket, Badlands pants, um, the new Bell MX9 adventure helmet, the new Shoei Hornet X2 helmet, and I think those are the big things right now that I'm working on.
Nice.
The Shoei X2. I didn't know that had come out. What's the difference?
Well, I never rode with the original one,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't really tell you. I can only really compare it to the XD4, and the difference. It's a really good road helmet, is what the difference is basically,
Mm-hmm.
compared to other adventure helmets, and it's just super quiet. It's really quiet on the road, and the wind manners on it are really, really good. The only time you can get it to really pull your neck is when you really turn your head all the way to the side, so it's been really good actually. But the only trade-off is the ventilation. It just isn't there for off-road riding. You have to have goggles on, because the vent in the front, just you don't get enough air moving through there.
Is it easy to convert for goggles?
Yeah, it is. You can have the visor on and still run goggles, which was nice. The only problem I had was it was so hot last time I was running goggles at the TourTech rally that the plastic band on my goggles melted into the helmet.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 108 degrees or something.
Like in the clear coat kind of got soft on the helmet?
No, like the you know how on some goggles they have the like kind of sticky
gripper
band
right
on the inside thing? Yeah, that the color from it, the inside of my goggle band is actually tie-dye. And so like there's a strip of tie-dye all around my brand new expensive helmet now, which I'm not too stoked about, but
speaking of expensive, how does it compare in price to the XT4? Similar or less?
yeah, it's I want to say it's like $50 less expensive because it's right at $600.
So in the same price range, right?
Yeah. But it's compared to the XT4, it's if you're doing more road riding than off-road riding, I think it's a better option just because of how quiet it is on the road,
That's interesting. And everybody that I know that wears Shoei helmets talks about how much more quiet they are than the RIs. And I had, it was funny too because I have an older RI Quantum, and I thought it was quiet until I got a newer AGV, and I'm like, wow, there's a huge difference between these two.
Yeah.
I don't know what a quiet helmet sounds like.
I think helmets get less quiet over time too. Like I used to think my XT4 was like super quiet, and I swear over time it's gotten louder. I think it just gets a little bit looser, and the visors never seal quite as well as they did when they're brand new, so.
Let me ask you, on the XT4, did they sell it to you with a little bit of silicone lube for the visor interface?
I didn't get that. I got that with the Shoei helmet, but not with the XT4.
Yeah, because on the Arise years ago, they always gave you that little tiny bottle of like silicone to lube up the gasket, the seal, and
yeah.
It seemed to make a difference on the Quantum. I don't know about the XTs though.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for me was the visor mechanism, like the release on that one. And then going over to the Shoei, it's just so easy to to take the visor off and to change it out, or even if you want to just clean the inside, you can just pop it off really quick. So that's been my favorite thing about it so far.
Have you published that review yet on that?
No. I'm still working on that one. It should be soon, actually. I'm pretty much decided on all that, and I think I've put about 3 months into riding in it now.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that in the Badlands too, as well.
The new Badlands is just awesome. I'm super stoked on it.
A lot of changes from the old one besides the Gauntlet?
I think it fits better. And it's only like a pound and a half. I want to say it's a pound and a half lighter than the old Badlands, but it feels like they distributed the weight better, I think. And the front pad, on the old front pad, how it used to stick across your chest, and it was kind of weird. It would get in the way of the zipper and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, well, the new one, they fixed that, and the pad's in 2 pieces now, so it doesn't get in the way, and it's not like sticking out of your jacket.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why they didn't do that the first time. It's almost like that pad was an afterthought,
Yeah, I don't know.
So what we're talking about is in the original Badlands, they've got this D30 armor throughout the thing, and they include in the front almost like a trauma plate. They include a sewn-in pocket in the front that's got a piece of square D30, correct?
Yeah.
That would actually span the gap of your zipper, so it was kind of in the way of the zipper as you were trying to zip the jacket up. And I know a lot of guys I talked to took them out.
There's a chest pad for my Dainese jacket that's like that. That it's like a upper chest protector that goes across.
The same thing though, where it spans the zipper. You kind of like have to.
Yeah. It's weird. In fact, on my jacket, there's only one pocket. It's on the left side. You stick like one half of the pad into this pocket, and it fits into the pocket, and then when you zip it, it sticks out of the pocket and goes underneath the zipper on the other side of your chest.
Weird.
Yeah, on the
I've
bad
never
lanes,
used it.
the pocket kind of like spanned all the way across. It was like this mesh pocket, but yeah, it makes a lot more sense just to have them split.
Yeah.
And you can still remove it, right?
Yeah, it's still removable.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you even would with this one, because I think it works a lot better than the old one. It doesn't get in the way, like I said.
You know, D3 is really impressed. D3 does some impressive stuff. I mean, I did the whole hammer test thing the first time I saw it, and in the Badlands, it's not an option. It comes with D3O armor already in it, which is really nice. A lot of companies, you know, it's either an option you can pay for, or you have to just go out and buy that armor and fit it in the jacket. Crash, what Dainese jacket do you have that's got that front pad? I'm curious.
It doesn't come with the front pad. It has a pocket for it, but it's an older jacket they don't sell anymore called the Speed Naked. It's a like really muted, sport bike-ish jacket that I really wish I had the non-perforated version, because now I want a second one. I want it because I have a perforated one and I want a non-perforated one. They don't sell it anymore. And all the guys at the Dainese store here in Costa Mesa, they all have one, and they're all like, "Dude, keep that thing safe." They don't make them anymore. Like the looks in their eyes when they're telling me, like everyone that works there is sad about it.
It always seems the companies that make the cool gear discontinue it, and then they come out with something else.
They make more gear. I mean, they've made some. I like the shoes I got. Those are nice. They're pretty hipstery, but I can't complain. I ride a Bonneville. What am I going to do?
So, you know, one of the things, Spencer, we were talking about prior to you coming on was the new CRF 1000L, the Honda Africa Twin.
Mm-hmm.
And have you had a chance to see anything pre-release that we maybe have not gotten our eyes on yet? Being that you've got...
I think like everything is leaked. It seems like everything is leaked. So no, I don't think that anybody would have seen
I was just wondering if Nicole might have got her hands on something before, you know, like you guys might get a pre-release or something for the magazine that...
Well, I saw like the press release thing, or I don't know what you would call it. I think it's like a press release or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically the exact same thing that went up on ADV Pulse.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I'm really excited to ride it. I know that. But a lot of people are talking about the weight, that the weight to power ratio, and everybody talks about that. But I mean, it's all about how it actually feels, you know, and about how its manners are, you know.
One of the things I was telling Crash that I saw was they kind of leaked a patent for the tank / airbox interface, and it looks a lot like a dirt bike.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and that was like the first rough pictures that I saw of it, was because they had to submit that patent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's when everybody started talking about it, like, oh, it's really happening, you know. So
I think it's funny because Honda usually is the leader, and they seem to be late to the market segment for this whole, you know, adventure bike craze. So I'm hoping that this is a departure from the MN04 and all this other weird crap that they came out with in the last couple of years. Although the NC700X is turning into be a real nice bike. You know, when I first saw it, I didn't like it. And then they've got this other thing that, what's that goofy looking 400cc thing called, Crash, that James and Chris want to buy? That
goofy looking 400cc?
Yeah,
Honda?
They're coming out with this like parallel twin city enduro bike thing that it's got. They make a vehicle that's got the same name. I don't know. It just has like 15-inch wheels on it. We talked about this thing a few episodes ago.
I swear we did, but I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, it's just, you know, everything like lately they've been coming out with, to me, it looks like some sort of Batman scooter or something that they drug out of a closet from some anime shop. But this thing's really got me interested, and I was a big Honda fan. My first bike was a CB1100F, so and I've always been a fan of the Interceptors and VFRs and all that. And now that this thing's coming out, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. It might have to be the next bike. Although, like I was telling Crash, I've been kind of in love with KTM right now. So
Yeah, they are the orange mistress, if you will.
yeah, the big adventure bike's really neat. It's just the price point. It's up there in multi-strata land.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but it's so much fun. Like I love my 690, but like right now I have 1190 that I'm riding around to do some product stuff on and stuff, and man, it's a lot of fun. It's like a super bike in that frame, So it's a lot of fun. I have a lot more fun riding it on the street than I do off road because you start to get in single track stuff with that thing and you get a little nervous. But I mean, it's just so much fun to ride.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. We're hoping they debut it at AIM, but we'll check it out. Crash, you got anything else, man? Because I think the time
I'm
went
actually
off
going
on
to try to get out and ride some more. I mean, I know I keep saying it, but I really am finally in a position where I'm not having to drive my truck every day. So I'm looking forward to hopefully this weekend, getting the few little maintenance items done. Like, I don't know if I've mentioned this, and it's been like a pervasive issue. My front tire needs to be balanced, like, bad. And I didn't notice it because I had a steering damper on, but I took it off because it got in the way of something else I installed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need the steering damper, really. And then one day, because I've got the little throttle lock deal, from about 35 miles an hour to 45 miles an hour, if I let go of the handlebars, like, those handlebars start shaking, like, exponentially faster and faster and faster until I touch them again.
What's holding you back from getting this fixed? You want to crash?
It's only at 35 to 45 miles an hour, and when my hands are on the bars, it doesn't happen. So,
well, there you have it, folks.
like, how much time do I really spend at that speed?
More logic from Crash Ashmore. So
just go faster, right? That's the solution.
Exactly. Just speed up or slow down.
When in doubt, throttle it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Spencer, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me at www.thegeardude.com.
Perfect. And you got a Facebook page too that's the same thing, right?
Yeah, the Gear Dude on Facebook, and on Instagram it's the Gear Dude 690 for my 690.
Perfect. All right, man. We look forward to seeing articles in ADV Moto, right? And
yeah,
ADV Pulse online.
ADV Moto, ADV Pulse. Yeah.
Perfect.
And thanks for having me on, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Hang with us for a second.
Yeah,
when we go off air, we'll talk to you, and I'm going to get you to send me your links, and we'll put them up on the show notes. And we're not going to talk about, any of the other crap we've been talking about, the new website and all that, 'cause it hadn't happened yet. So, what do people need to know, Crash?
Oh, just get out there and ride.
Take it easy, guys.